going to start at the Etihad. Pretty routine. Manchester City 2, Wolves 0. A couple of talking points before the game kicked off. Janusz, Mark Gahey getting his debut, and Erling Haaland on the bench. How did City fare without their top scorer today?
Well, you've mentioned it, a practice match, right? Not that Wolves didn't try. Obviously, they're fighting for their lives, but for most of it, when you and I meet, there's always a token point, and I'm glad you brought it out with Erling Haaland. Normal rotation, I suppose, but if those Mo Salah, right? The world ends, and here nobody really talks about it. So I think he is steady Eddie. Obviously, a good buy, knows the league, experienced, and all that. I didn't notice anything in particular from him that was good, better, and different. But it was good. It's one of those matches that we quickly forget about. But Manchester City putting pressure on Arsenal, and that's good.
Yeah, 4 points. Now the gap at the top. Of course, Arsenal still to play this weekend. Opening goal didn't take long. 6 minutes. Cross in from Matheus Nunes. It wasn't a high boot, it was a low head, and it was Marmoush that got in there. It's a good finish, and it's a defender waiting on a ball and a forward going to attack a ball, and the forward coming out on top.
Yeah, I mean, look, I felt for Omar Marmoush, one of those players that because of Erling Haaland, he's automatic, right? I mean, 20 goals in the Premier League, and I think there's a player in him. You and I have watched it in the Bundesliga. I think he's had a difficult time. He was away, obviously, for on international duty, but I think if he gets more time, I think there is something to him that I like, but it's just unfortunate that you have Erling Haaland.
City wanted a penalty about 8 minutes from half time. Marmoush continues the play, hits the post. He's unlucky not to score the second, but then it's reviewed. Now the referee was Farai Halam. It was his first Premier League game. He was invited over to the monitor to have a look, the suggestion being that it was a handball. I think it was by Mosquera. This took an eternity, replay after replay after replay. In the end, the rookie ref came over and announced to the crowd that the on-field decision would stand because the player's arm was in a natural position. Those are the facts. What did you make of the decision to award no penalty and for play to continue?
Good for him. You probably noticed that I tweeted about it at the moment because, just gut feeling is that 99% of the time, I think this is called a penalty because the arm was out. But, if you look at the distance, if you look at how it happened, a little bit of a flick, obviously. If it was called, I would have been okay with it. But I'm glad that he didn't give in and re-refereed that situation because as a defender, I just feel that this was a good decision. Gut feeling for me at the moment was that it wasn't a penalty. It wasn't intentional.
Okay. Added time at the end of the first half. Bernardo Silva with a through ball. What I like a lot about this was the first touch by Semenyo. It doesn't just kill it. It moves it into a position that his second touch is the shot that makes it 2-0. What has Semenyo added to this City lineup that they maybe didn't have before, Janusz?
Well, I don't know if he's added anything, but I mean, he's walked into the job. He's got like 4 games, 3 goals, I think. If you not for City, but he's got the pace. He's smart. It's not an easy team to walk into right away and make an impact, and that's what he does. And I often watch the massive clubs when somebody comes over. We talk about needing time and all that, but he's walked in and looked the part. Obviously, City can buy anyone. But as I said, I just think that tactically with his pace, ability to get behind, I'm going to watch him a little bit because obviously City faces low block all the time, and that's not his thing. So, but for the most part, great start.
Yeah, he's hit the frame of the goal in the second half as well. Could easily have scored again. For those of you that play Fantasy Premier League and captained Erling Haaland this weekend, I'm sure you were getting excited about who your vice captain was, and then Haaland appeared in the 73rd minute. So you get a 1-pointer doubled to get 2 points. Glorious. He came on. If you're not starting him, what's the point of bringing him on? Is that him just saying, look, let me at him?
Yeah, I've had some controversial opinions about Erling Haaland in the past. Because he didn't do much when he doesn't score and all of that. I've learned, so I'm not gonna I'm not gonna do anything here. The guy scores goals, natural rotation. I think a little bit of a message for sure, and a smart manager that understands that even though he didn't start him, and I do believe this was a bit of a message other than rotation, you let him in, and next couple games he's going to get you 3, 4, 5 goals. That's what he does. I've made peace with that. I'm no longer going to question him because next game again is going to be a hat trick.
Looking at City's fixtures regarding how they're using their squad after this weekend, it's Galatasaray in the Champions League in midweek, Spurs at the weekend, Newcastle in the League Cup semi-final in midweek, Liverpool at the weekend, and then it's Fulham. They play as well in I think it's midweek. So then they've got Salford in the FA Cup 3 days later. It's like you're not going to start everybody at once. I thought it was interesting. You said something earlier. If this was something like Salah that wasn't playing, it's a headline news. But with Haaland, Pep's come out in the last few weeks and said he's shattered. It's no surprise he was benched today, is it? Just give him a rest.
No, and again, if this happens again in the next game, then we have a story, right? And Haaland's unlike, I think, Mo Salah. He's not going to say anything. He understands that maybe he needs it. The way he plays, it's kind of one of those players that he doesn't have to move a lot. He doesn't have to spend a lot of time chasing people, right? So he's going to be fine. Again, to me, it's not a story. If he doesn't start the next game, then you and I will talk.